Right to Censor. How'd they pitch Right to Censor for you?
So I have to tell this because it kind of me and Stevie. I'd met him when I went and did that little shot in ECW, but we got kind of hanging out at WrestleMania where me and Ray against D'Lo and Godfather. We got to hanging out a little bit. And we got to be friends. So they split me up from Ray, and I was really bummed out about that. You know, Ray being Ray. Oh no, don't worry about. You know, they wanting to push you as a single. He said he had to get some work done on his knee because he's going to be out a while. So you know, I got that little singles run. Well, we were in Albany, New York, and Stevie come up to me and says, "Hey man, what do you think about it?" And I said, "Well," he said, "Oh, nobody's told you." And he laid the whole thing out to me. And right off the bat, I thought, man, this is, I mean, if they do it and then they give it a decent chance, man, this could really get some heat.
Yeah.
And, but I didn't know, you know, I knew he'd come out a couple of times on TV wearing the white shirt and the pants and everything, but I didn't know what it was all about. And he laid it all out to me. You know, I was, you know, kind of, it was a little bit of a rib at the PTC, the Parent Teacher Council. And, you know, it was their way of getting back. But yeah, man. Oh, you know, and, you know, say what you want to about it, but man, that thing has some heat, and you know, as it should have, because I mean, we were systematically taking all the fun stuff away. You know, people asked me what my favorite match was, and you know, maybe outside of one or two matches over in Japan that were just like 45-minute barn burners. Me and Godfather, you know, that night we had the match for the girls. You know, they were going to we were going to ban the girls if I won. Man, that crowd was live because they didn't know. You know, I think everybody at that point kind of had a feel. You know, it is what it is. I don't know if it's all on the up and up, but they didn't know how that was going to go, and and they didn't want to see those girls. That was a highlight of the night, man. Godfather had the gimmick. I mean, he didn't have to wrestle. All he had to come out, parade the girls around, not taking anything away from his wrestling, but you know, he didn't even have to. He could just get in the ring and do his whole stick about rolling one up and all that stuff. And the place went nuts. But we had that match, and God, crowd. And when I hit that leg drop, my opinion, man, people were hot. And from there on out, man, we just took off. I mean, the reactions we were getting, and that god awful, that the buzzer sound, and that's annoying as hell. Right, that's enough right there to get you heat.
That's heat, yeah.
And that, and then we were messing, Chyna just come out with her Playboy, and we were messing with that, just we got Val, who was a big fan favorite at that time also. We teased the Dudley boys. Oh my God, if we had got them to actually come over, even if it just been for, I thought they pulled the trigger on that a little too. We had Dudley boys come out in the shirts. Man, I want to say we were at Madison Square Garden, but I can't be for sure. But they come out in the shirts with the ties, and the people, I mean, they shit on it. They were hot, because the Dudleys they were hot as hell at that time. They had the whole Budweiser thing, the commercial. It was all during this time, and they come walking out with those shirts on, and the people, they had a high speed come apart. I thought if we could have just milked it for a week or two and then done it, but they did it that night. Got a huge reaction. But man, I thought, and I knew they didn't want to do it. And who would? See, it was different for me. I'd been a heel. That's all I'd ever been. So to me, it was just being myself. What I had been. Godfather and Val, man, they lost. I know because me and Godfather got to be good friends. Riding partners. Me, him, and Teddy Long. And you got to be buddies with Val too. And they lost a lot of money on merchandise. Godfather was moving a ton of merchandise back then. So I can see their point. But yeah, for me it was just another day at work. But and Stevie was kind of already a heel too. So and then Ivory, I think Ivory was one of the best parts of it because she totally jumped in with both feet. I mean, she would not. Ivory was a very good looking lady. You know, she didn't put on much makeup. She made herself look bland. Wore the skirt. You know, a lot of times at the house shows, she'd wear these old bloomer, you know, style that come all the way, you know, and she would take the bump and throw her legs up in there, and she got these old bloomers on, you know. So it was just, I mean, it was just one of those things that you know, I don't think that they really thought it was getting as hot as it did. But as far as heat goes, man, we had a ton of it.
You mentioned earlier China. How'd you like working with her?
Oh, Joni was great. She was a real sweet lady. Another, you know, another tragedy. She was great. She was, I mean, she was getting a good push at that time, and you know, she was hot. She was right off that Playboy thing, and you know, working with her gave us even more credibility because you know, I mean, now you're working with, you know, you're working with, you know, Chyna, who's the top lady in the company at one time. You know, not just lady, she's one of the top stars. You know,
Right.
so it just helped us. You know, it gave us a little more credibility working with her. But she was a real sweet lady. You know, she my girls, you know, they used to come to the shows, and you know, she would take time and you know sit and talk to them. You know, everybody was great back then. It really was kind of like, I'm sure it still is. But you know, once you got in, you know, it was really kind of like a big family. You know, my kids when they it was you know they couldn't travel with me all the time, but you know, sometimes when we were close to home, you know, we would just load them up and take a road trip instead of flying, you know, to Nashville or Memphis or Charlotte, somewhere like that. And so, but yeah, she was a real sweet lady.